Hello and welcome everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RM Comp webinar. It's lovely to see so many people here in attendance today. So we are now 2 minutes past the hour, but we might wait until 5 minutes past just to ensure that everybody that hoped to attend today has the time to join. So as I can see, we have 100 participants. And we have over 200 registered, so it should be a great morning, and I hope you learn a lot about RM Comp, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and responses. Hello, Lucia.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Mary-Kate.
Hello, Mary-Kate.
Hello, Mary-Kate. Yes, and good morning from Belgium here. Hello.
And good morning from sunny Ireland.
Oh, from Barcelona.
Oh,
great.
You make a stream.
Hello,
Christina.
Good morning, Nuria.
Oh,
Good
from
morning,
Pisa.
Well, good morning, Italy.
It's like the Eurovision.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's sunny pretty everywhere except in Belgium?
No, it's a little bit sunny. We are lucky today. For now.
That's okay, Mary-Kate.
Oh.
Hello from Spain.
From France.
Oh.
A lot here from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Very nice.
From Spain. A lot. Hola, hola.
Wonderful. Hola, exactly.
So maybe we can start.
Yes, that's a great idea. And we're going to try and make this as interactive as possible. So lovely Laurence has a few things planned. So if you wouldn't mind, if your phone is at hand, taking it out, because we're going to ask you to scan a QR code and answer some questions.
Yeah. Do you see the screen?
Yep.
So take your phone, scan the QR code, and you will see a first question. Okay, great. Do you already see yourself as a research manager?
So it's nice that it seems that the majority are already
now
recognized research manager.
Very great.
So we have a real mix.
So we really hope that what we will say and present today will give you a lot of information that you will need.
Yeah, this is the QR code for the one who asked me again. Thank you for all for your participation and great answers.
Great. So hopefully there will be a lot to learn for those of you that already see yourselves as research managers, but maybe today you will also recognize yourselves as research managers, or at least recognize people within your organization who are research managers. So that's the hope, and we hope that you learn an awful lot from us today.
Yeah, I will stop sharing, Olivia, and I will let you. The floor is yours.
Wonderful. Okay, then. Now, so again, thank you, everybody. My name is Olivia O'Leary, and I work as the project manager on the Cardea Horizon Europe project, which is one of the projects that has been funded under Action 17 of the ERA policy agenda. And I'll give you a little bit of insight into that. So I'm here as a representative of the Cardea team, but also as a representative of our PI and the coordinator of the project, Mary Kate O'Regan. And I'll give a little insight into the development of ORM Comp as the European competency framework for research managers. So I'm joined here today as well with my lovely colleagues from Liège. So Veronique Larosa, who's going to give some insights into the implementation of ORM Comp, and also Laurence, who is going to be here throughout the day to keep it as interactive as possible. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the two wonderful ladies for joining me today, and as always, bringing that lovely energy that comes from Liège. So to begin with, what is ORM Comp? So ORM Comp is the Research Management Competency Framework, and this was launched by the European Commission in January 2025. But what I can tell you is that it has been a long process to bring this to life. So it didn't just happen overnight. There has been a lot of work in the background to bring this wonderful framework to fruition. And what this Research Manager Competency Framework is about, the objective of it is to ensure that it supports the professionalization of research managers, of research management careers, and those working in research performing organizations that really make that true impact in research. Impact that isn't always measured, perhaps, but it's definitely felt. So, ORM Comp is a key pillar for strengthening the European research area. And as we know, talent is really, really important in order for any ecosystem to thrive. And ORM Comp comes in alongside Researcher Comp, which is a really key framework in also ensuring that we have that talent flowing within the ERA. So it is a really timely response to the growing strategic importance of research managers, and for those that are delivering research excellence and impact as it is, but may not have always felt it. So what is the premise and objective of ORM Comp? Well, it is a true framework for growth and excellence. So it provides an opportunity to identify the core skills and competencies that are required for effective research management. So having a competency framework, it provides a structured approach for career development for both individuals and for their organization. So those that employ research managers, it gives a consistent standard for roles across the ERA. For research managers, ORM Comp enables self-assessment, it highlights skills gaps, and it also offers and guides a means of professional development. For organizations, you can integrate this framework into your hiring practices, your training programs, performance reviews, and funding agencies can also use it to promote capacity building and collaboration. So it is a really useful tool, initially simple from the outset, but once you delve into it, you can really see how comprehensive the tool is and how useful it can be for both you and your organization. So for the individual, for the research managers, whether you're early career or you're advanced, it is an opportunity for you to help to help you identify career paths. So as you will see when you delve into the framework, there are a number of different interesting subject matter expertise areas, specialized knowledge areas, and it might be a case that you may not have identified these particular routes as career paths already within your profession. But once you delve into it, you will identify that there is so much to offer you within this profession, but equally that you as an individual with all your wonderful skills and attributes can also offer an awful lot to different arms and legs within the research manager space. So you can identify those skills that you have, but you can also identify the gaps and your training needs. Equally, for institutions, whether or not you are a public or private research performing organization, you are employing research managers, you can standardize the practices within your organization, but it also enables you to have staff development in particular areas of training. I mentioned earlier the fact that you can use it within your HR remit. So a little bit of background about us in Cardea. Most of us are HR professionals or those in a HR facing role that were interested in research careers. So a lot of us will understand the background within hiring processes. So you can use RM Comp as a tool to help you within your hiring processes, whether that's developing job specifications, whether that's using it for performance reviews. It is a very useful tool. For research funding bodies and policy advisors, it also ensures consistency, promotes capacity building and collaboration across sectors. So as you will see, research managers are really key to enable the research ecosystem to function, whether or not that's someone working in your research office, it's someone working within research integrity. So it really helps to ensure that consistency and that we have the information about what people do, what people need to do. So it's useful for many, many different stakeholders. It's also, while comprehensive, it's also flexible. So as I've mentioned, on the surface, it looks very simple, but once you delve deeper, you get that comprehensiveness. So it consists of 3 very important key dimensions. There are 7 key competency areas, which include cognitive abilities, technical proficiency, stakeholder engagement, and I'll delve a little bit deeper into those as we move through. Associated with those 7 competency areas, there are 50 key competencies, each with defined learning outcomes. And this is where it gets a bit more comprehensive, because once you delve that little bit deeper, you will find that there are 800 learning outcomes associated across 4 proficiency levels. And that leads from foundational all the way up to expert. But what's really important to know is that each competency includes learning outcomes for a proficiency level, but it's not envisioned that research managers acquire the highest level of proficiency or have the same proficiency across all the 7 competency areas. However, it is valuable that you would have some in both, or in all 7. So, you might have aspects of some in others, but that's why it's also valuable, because you can identify areas where you can improve or your organization can improve. So it's a flexible framework, and it's helped to develop your competency areas while focusing on specific strengths, but also identifying those career goals. What's very special about RM Comp is that it's also part of the broader efforts for research careers. So as I've mentioned, we all have within the development of RM Comp, we have an invested interest in research careers. So whether that's from Euraxis, HR Excellence in Research, or the ER Talent platform. So RM Comp is not a separate tool. It's actually very much interlinked within other EU initiatives, and that those that are aimed at enhancing research careers. So as you will see, if you haven't already had the opportunity to look at RM Comp, it is very similar to Research Comp. So it's built around the same ideals. But as I mentioned earlier, this did not come out of nowhere. So it's built around a high level of collaboration. So the emergence of ORM Comp, as I've mentioned, initially started within the Cardea project, and this was based around objectives of not only the project, but equally of those that we surveyed and those who told us what they wanted. And what they wanted was career visibility, a comprehensive framework inclusive of training, a promotional framework, and a definition of the role of research manager. So through a collaborative effort, thanks to Action 17, Cardea, ORM Roadmap, and the new European Research Area, this wonderful initiative came to life. And as you can see, my colleagues have mentioned that we'll share the slides, but I will discuss a little bit about the Cardea Hub. We have the dashboard, we have the ORM Ambassador Programme, we have the success stories, and we have ORM Comp. So there are a number of associated initiatives that have developed through this high level of collaboration. And as I mentioned, the development, it came through a comprehensive methodology. So it was through document analysis of existing frameworks. And that's very much how Research Comp and Research Manager Comp are closely aligned. There was a lot of desk research. There was survey data, interviews and discussions, a co-creation process, a collaborative effort across Cardea and ORM Roadmap. There was also benchmarking, and it went through a strong, very important validation workshop. So we asked you, again, was this what you foresaw as the Research Manager Competency Framework? And the answer was yes. And this is, you know, we're very lucky to have this wonderful tool now available for research managers and equally for their employers. So as I mentioned, it didn't appear from nowhere. And this is one of the iterations of ORM Comp before it was published by the European Commission. I already mentioned the framework structure, but as you can see here, these are the 7 main competency areas. And if you wish to look at the full document, you will find the link here. It's available on the Cardea website. But as you can see within the main competency areas, we have cognitive abilities, personal attributes, subject matter expertise and specialized knowledge, research project oversight, line management and talent development, communication, stakeholder engagement, and technical proficiency. But what's very nice about this framework is that it delves into the areas of specialized knowledge. So you can see within the role of a research manager, areas that are very key to understand, that are very much aligned to those within this profession. And from that, you can identify areas for training where people need to upskill and may have specific gaps in their knowledge. So as I've mentioned, when it comes to implementing or learning about yourself through ORM Comp, you have your 800 learning outcomes along 4 proficiency levels. And as I mentioned earlier, research managers asked for a progression model. So what we have developed is a career framework, and that very much aligns to, if you are familiar with OR1 to OR4, we also have ORM1 to ORM4. And those individuals that are from the first stage research manager, a recognized research manager, established research manager, up until a senior research manager. But we equally have with the learning, those different levels of learning outcomes. So whether that's foundational, you know, your very basic knowledge, which is likely to be aligned to ORM1, all the way up to expert. But what's important to note is that these are, while you have your career framework, that does not mean that if you're a senior research manager, that you don't learn at a foundational level about an area of research management. For example, clinical research management, where you may not be as versed. So although they're interoperable, they also work separately. So this is what it looks like as born out of the original document. But as we move through, this is the European Competency Framework for Research Managers. So as you can see, it's really easy to navigate. You can see the different areas. And as I've mentioned, you have your associated learning outcomes. So again, it's important to note that each competency includes a learning outcome, but it's not envisaged that all research managers will have all 800 learning outcomes, but at least maybe a part of each competency. But again, you can use this tool to identify the areas that you need to upskill. So how do we use ORM Comp? So I'm just going to give you, again, a little bit of an overview of this, and then my colleague Veronique is going to give you a case study. So really how ORM Comp is used within an organization. So for the individual research manager, as I've mentioned, you can have this self-assessment. So you can look at ORM Comp and see, where do I need to develop? Where are my strengths? And where would I personally like to learn more? Do I have career goals? Would I like to pursue a different area within the research management space? So you can use the tool to identify your current skills, but you can also use it for areas of improvement. You can use it for your professional development. So you can use the outlined competencies to plan your training or mentorship, for example, or areas that you need to improve. But you can also use it in daily applications, so you can align your work practices with ORM Comp standards to improve your efficiency and collaboration. So you can look at the specific areas of the learning outcomes and identify things that might be the best practice for what you should be doing within your role. For those that are employing research managers, you can embed it into your research policies. So again, whether that's from the very early hiring process, using it as for your job specifications, all the way through your training programs, and equally down to your performance reviews. But it is a really useful tool for staff development. So you can use ORM Comp to align specific resources. You can integrate it within certain platforms, and you can also, where possible, have it in budgeting. So you can use it for professional growth. And then from the funding agencies or policy advisors aspect, you can use it to set standards. So you can use ORM Comp as a criteria for funding, application and evaluation, for example. You can promote capacity building. So again, funding training programs or conferences around ORM Comp skills. And it also facilitates that collaboration piece. So it's also a good means to use it to work with institutions that you will help them to align ORM Comp policies and share those best practices. Again, so this is another aspect that has been developed through Cardea, and this is a professional development toolkit which is aligned to ORM Comp. So within Cardea, you have access to specific tools, and these are free and downloadable, and I'll show you where you can access these in a few moments. So you have a knowledge, skills, abilities self-assessment tool, and within that tool, it empowers research managers to conduct self-assessment. So while it was advised that you can do your self-assessment, this tool gives you a breakdown on how to do that. So you can identify those areas that you can tailor your professional development efforts. There's also a training needs analysis guided assessment tool. And what's lovely about this is that there is one for the individual, but equally one for the organization. So this tool gives an opportunity for you as an individual to see, what are my training needs? But if you are someone in a management position, for example, you can also identify areas that you might need to upskill your team. So whether that's hiring a new research manager or that's upskilling within your team to promote that professional development. Speaking of professional development, we also have a professional development workbook and associated templates. So as an individual, and you can do this on your own, you can do it with your manager, you can plan your professional development. You can identify your career goals. You can use the criteria that will really help you, making it, using SMART goals, for example, but there are templates and you can share that with your manager. What's also really lovely is that we have a mentoring workbook. So again, with someone who may be your manager or someone you identify in the organization that you would like to mentor you, you have a workbook that gives standards in that mentor-mentee relationship. It gives insights into the differences between mentoring and coaching. So it really gives you a very good knowledge of what to expect from the mentoring relationship. And equally, there's templates within those workbooks that you can use to set specific standards and boundaries. So it's really useful for both the mentor and the mentee. What's really lovely and kind of the cherry on top of our professional development toolkit is that we have a reflective toolkit. So we strongly believe that anybody that is going through the process of professional development should also reflect on how far you've come. So you should have that ability to reflect and see how you've developed, but equally you can identify areas that you might need to improve or continue to improve. So reflection is always a very important part of that learning and development process. So we think that's lovely as well, that that's an opportunity for you. So while we have all this wonderful toolkit and we have a wonderful competency framework, what are we missing? Training. So, while I've mentioned that you can fit this into your training budget and that it would be very valuable, what we also have on offer is free training. So this is the Cardea Academy, and we will provide links to this, but included within the Cardea Academy is the professional toolkit. We also have associated training. So this is a hub, and it serves as a platform for multiple stakeholders in a multidisciplinary profession, which is research management. So this hub provides opportunities for networking and mobility activities, importantly, training and development, and it's also a means to share best practices and policy development. But the really lovely thing about our Cardea Academy is our free micro-credential training. So there are and I'll just move on. So within the Cardea Academy, it provides training for research managers across all competencies mentioned in RM Comp. So they are the core learnings common to the categories of research manager, whether you're a data manager, a research project manager, research integrity officer, outreach manager. It covers all aspects of your profession. So there is a specific focus, however, on the subject matter expertise, so the specialized knowledge in research performing contexts. And the target of the training is mainly those new to the profession, so those RM1s, those newcomers. However, it is not closed off because, as I've mentioned, there may be specific areas that you may wish to upskill, or you may wish to find out the best practices, for example, from people within this training. So it's open to everyone, but it focuses on the foundational level of knowledge. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to briefly stop sharing, and I'm going to show you the Cardea Hub quickly, and then we will move to a question from the audience again. So if you just bear with me one moment. Now, can I ask if everybody can see my screen? You can? Fantastic. So welcome to the Cardea Academy or the Cardea Hub. This is our landing page. So for anybody that's interested, as you can see, I'm already logged on up here, but you will need to go through a process of signing up or registering to the Cardea Academy in order to see our module. So that's just a little bit of a caveat if anybody is interested in doing the training. Free registration, exactly. So if you scroll down here, you can see the modules, and just there is some information here. So again, you know who the primary audience is and also how you receive those micro credentials at the end. But what's really nice about this is the training format. So our training is free. It's pre-recorded lessons, and the idea behind that is that it ensures that research managers have that flexibility to conduct the training. So many research managers are very busy in their roles. They're also highly educated individuals, so they may not necessarily need to go through a long process of learning, and they would like to do it in a bite-sized way. So we're not expecting people to, you know, be stuck to specific time frames. The idea is that people will be able to do the training in their own time. But again, another caveat, if you wish to receive your micro-credential, you need to complete all training. So that's, again, you may not be interested in receiving the micro-credential, so you might be selective in what you learn. So this is just an example of our training. In our module 1, you have pre-award, so you can see this is very interesting. It's also very useful for people who might be researchers, who might want to identify how to go about, for example, identifying appropriate funding opportunities. So it's giving that insight into the very basic knowledge that you would have as a research manager in the pre-award space. It gives you insights into budget preparation, which is very useful for anyone within the research ecosystem. Post-award, an area that people might not be, you know, it's a lot of learning. You might get this funding, and then what do you do with it? So you need to look at aspects around legal aspects, ethical requirements, very importantly, open science requirements. We have a lovely module on managing EDI. And giving you some insights into legislation around EDI, stereotypes, data stewardship, which is extremely important for anyone within this research space. So it's giving information around your management plan, legal issues, research data quality, again, technology transfer, or what's now known as technology valorization. So identifying the third mission within universities, for example. Very useful module, HR research. So again, you know, understanding the HR fundamentals, researcher recruitment, again, aspects around personnel management and compliance. Research finance, very important. I mentioned earlier, subject matter expertise, so clinical research management. You know, it might be a very different space, particularly around ethical considerations. Again, research ethics and integrity, your cognitive abilities and transversal skills, research project oversight and management, which I'm sure a lot of you will have a good insight into, your line management and talent development, which could be very useful for those of you trying to use RM Comp within your organization. How do you bring that talent along? What skills do I need? Communication, relationship management, community engagement, a really lovely one, how to embed the HR strategy for researchers in the overall research management system. So again, as I've mentioned, we are all interested in research careers. So this might be a very nice one for any of you that are also interested in that space. And last but not least, a module on artificial intelligence and research management. So when we began this process, AI was, I suppose, certainly emerging, but definitely not as applicable in our daily lives. Whereas now, generative AI, I mean, is kind of everywhere. So this was a new module that was integrated towards the end. So again, it's really lovely. It's by an expert, a real expert in generative AI. And it gives some insights into a lot of things, basic prompting and so forth. So this is a really, really useful module as well. And just quickly, before I move back, I'm just going to show you, you can also access Cardea UCC here. So anyone that's interested in learning more about RM Comp, the emergence, the long document that gives you all the information. You have a long version, a short version, where it falls. We also have the survey data following all the open science requirements. So you can find all this lovely information here. You can look at our career framework. You can also access the dashboard, which is a lovely collaboration with RM Roadmap, again, looking at the professional development opportunities. So you can have some insights here into salaries, specialist versus generalist roles. And yeah, so you can find all this information on our website. So I think that about sums it up for me. I'm very happy to take questions at the end of the webinar, but conscious of time, and I think my lovely colleague Veronique is going to show you how this is implemented in real life in a real organization. So I will pass you back to Laurence, who has a question, and then we will move on to Veronique.
Yes, thank you very much, Olivia, for the presentation. Let's have another question. Do you see the QR code?
I do.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm also participating.
What topics or skills would you like to develop as a research manager?
And through the time, we can maybe answer the quick question. So during the training session, beside the module, is there a chance to contact a trainer from Cardia project in order to solve a problem or a doubt? So technical problem can be directly solved by contact the help desk answer. You can contact the help desk, but there is not a direct way to contact the trainer on the Cardia Hub. But you will have a Cardia a LinkedIn account that you can always ask question and send question on that, and we will be more than happy to answer your question if we can answer them. We will make you the QR code at the end of this webinar just to register to our Cardia LinkedIn account.
So for the questions, what do you say? Which topic would you like to develop?
Science.
Yes.
Okay.
Gender.
So so you cover more or less all the topics, let's say, that you can find on Cardia Academy. AI, ethical, our priority setting.
Gender, ethics. Yeah, great.
Empathy.
Leadership.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So we can see, data management plan. So we have that within the training. Ethics. We cover a number of aspects of ethics as well.
Thank you very much for your answers.
Wait. Technology transfer. Data management plan.
Team management. Of course.
And there seems to be a lot of similarity across, the different aspects, skills development of employees, proposal preparation. I think we could all use some stress management for sure. Good ethics. Wonderful. So we really do hope that we have a lot of this covered within our training, but this is also very useful for us to identify areas or workshops that we can put on different aspects of training as well going forward.
Yep. Thank you very much. So
thanks,
now,
everybody.
Yeah, thanks. So now we move to from theory to practice with Véronique.
So here is it. So indeed, thank you for giving me the floor. And so my idea here is to show you how we implemented it in our administration at the University of Liège. But let me start by presenting myself. I'm Véronique Larosa, and I'm the Executive Officer for Research at RISE. It's the Administration of Research and Innovation at the University of Liège in Belgium. And I am also part with my colleague Laurence of the Cardia team, and we do with Laurence have the communication work package on it. And so my colleague Olivia has explained the theory about RM Comp at the individual level or at the level of the institution, the organization. It's true that sometimes connect the theory with the practical can be difficult. Why? Because we can face challenges. And I'm speaking for myself and my administration and my institution, but I'm sure that will be an echo for you. But we do face challenge. And which one? For example, a lack of institutional or political ownership of such tools. Indeed, a tool as RMComp can be seen as something really interesting to have on hand and to use it to make an impact, but how to put it into practice in an institution. So how to use it and to be recognized at overall level, let's say. Also, I'm pretty sure that it's quite the same in your institution. Sometimes there are some career pathways that are not well described and maybe more for the research managers. And so no formal recognition, or maybe it's difficult to connect with competencies. And finally, you can have passionate people, but that can maybe are demotivated. Also, and this is also a common problem that we face, limited resources, limited financial resources for training, for example, or even to career development, and finally to align maybe salaries with an evolution of career. And so finally, something that we can have also as a challenge is it's to have, let's say, performance review, feedback, and to finally have feedback on an institutional level for research manager. And for example, define tools, have maybe a cultural shift in how research report roles are really perceived and really describe in an environment where we can have an evolution of career. So it's true that RMComp and what Olivia showed about also the toolkit are really something that it's really helpful to implement and to resolve these challenges, but also it requires, let's say, people, local champions, as I like to call them, and finally design action and design a clear strategy. In my administration, we take it step by step and act really when and where we can. So this is what I would like to show you today. It's just an example, but maybe this can help you in your day life as a research manager. First of all, I would like to present you and welcome you in the Administration on Research and Innovation at the University of Liège, that is called RISE. And at RISE, we do have several missions. So, for example, on one hand, we support researchers and help to develop academic research by assisting researchers through all the career path from the start of their PhD, for example, when they want to become an entrepreneur. So really, we can help them all along to the career path. And here I have highlighted for you our engagement as an administration. We would like to provide a personalized support at every stage of the researcher's career. We are also implementing and sustaining the HRS4R award that it's completely linked here with the Cardia project. We also have an engagement of facilitating open innovation and open science. We do have a lot of engagement, but maybe let's take a moment of the number 8 engagement. We really have an engagement of fostering a team development and strengthening, finally, attractiveness of RISE. And this can be done thanks to all the Cardia toolkit and all the Cardia project deliverable that we have on hand. So just to explain you how we are structured, we are a more or less 17 people team with many roles and many skills. but we do have one shared vision. Well, it's our vision. It's maybe ambitious, but we would like to become a university that it's the easiest to collaborate with and to work with. And so in our administration, these 70% have a diverse type of job. They can help searcher to fund their project. There are pre-award, post-award office. We have also an intellectual property office. We do have a KTO office, so the knowledge transfer office. We have and define some interesting training and things to develop the career of our researcher. We have also a networking team dedicated to the networking within the university, but also with the enterprise ecosystem in Liège region. So really a lot of people and a lot of role and many skills. And so finally, as we say, RMCamp for us, it's not just the theory, and we use it, first of all, at an individual level. So for this, we can speak about self-assessment. In my administration, each team member can reflect on their current skills and, for example, identify their strength or maybe a degree of development. This helped us, for example, to map competencies across the team and also, and this was really something that we had to do, to identify a backup, or when a support is needed. Also, we can use it at an individual level to make professional development. Indeed, every year we hold performance and development review. We call them in French and in our administration entretien de fonctionnement, and it's done every year. And finally, it's a conversation between what we called in our prize a coordinator of a team and the person of the team. And finally, we stay there and speak about mentoring opportunity, what can be the next career step. And all this, you can do it using also some part of the toolkit. Also, in a daily base, we can use it to standardize our work. For example, aligning daily practice with this competencies model to improve, for example, clarity of our work. I told you 70% multiple role, but if we can define a role and associated competency in the same word, this can help us to clarify everything. And now this, let's say it's the explanation, I would like to show you our competency management procedure here at RISE. So the objective of this process is finally to align the skill of people with a defined role. And so first of all, maybe I have to give you a definition of what we do call a role in our administration. Finally, it's a defined set of responsibility, expectation, and activity that are assigned to one individual or finally to more than one person, maybe a group within the RISE service. And finally, this outline a scope of action, decision-making authority on, for example, a role. I will talk about the KTO role, the knowledge transfer officer role, but you know what is your perimeter of action. You can know like this what is the mission within RISE. And each role, it's linked to a process in our administration. And finally, require competency. And at this step, each person by themselves first and using the RMCamp framework can define competencies for each role. All by himself or herself. After that, we come back together with the coordinator, and we do a self-assessment. Like this, still using the RMCOM, we can finally identify, let's say, a position. This is really with no pressure. It's really to finally understand where I am located and why do I need. I show you here an example of what we call matrice des compétences or competence matrix. And this is, for example, for a team dedicated to the relation with the enterprise ecosystem. As you can see here, some roles are depicted here in gray. We leave this role in French. Like this, it's more easy for all the collaborators to understand properly the role, but we have keep the competencies in English. And so, as you can see here, for example, you have a role is here like chargé de suivi de demande interne externe. Finally, here you have to follow the external and internal, let's say, request. And you do need as a competencies, stakeholder needs assessment and analysis, knowledge brokerage and opportunity matching, service design and tailored support delivery. You can see here that finally people that are designed here, these are the people in the team that are involved in these processes and that has this role and these competencies, are finally identifying themselves thanks to the research comp model as advances in this competency. So finally here, we have encouraged our staff to assess themselves and to identify their strength and sometimes spot for development or even more seek for support. Indeed, the other step of this process is identify critical threshold. I mean by that, what is the minimum number of people required per skills? We did not have any problem in the previous competencies matrix here, but we did have some gaps with the knowledge transfer office. Indeed, we have done a gap analysis and we have noticed that for our knowledge transfer officer, a critical threshold was reached and nobody in the team could, let's say, back up the task. So we had to recruit new colleagues, and it's what we done. And so finally, we have tailored a plan to onboard people, and there were François and Grégoire that reached our team. And finally, during a first onboarding and performance review, François and Grégoire identified themselves as, let's say, newcomer on the knowledge transfer officer. And finally, as an onboarding system, we have asked them to follow the module 5 on the Cardea website, the hub that you have seen before, presented by Olivia. And in 3 modules, in 3 parts of the module 5, François and Grégoire could easily have access to what is the third mission of an university. Finally, what are the bases of knowledge transfer and technology transfer? What is open innovation? What can we do as a third mission, finally, administration? What about the Helix model? So with this module 5, François and Grégoire can have access the first day of work of this panel of free formation training program. It's true that François and Grégoire had also access to a lot of information and strategic information within RISE. It's not only the Cardia module 5, that was something that they can get in reach of, but this was a part that was easily given to François and Grégoire. And so finally, we can put François and Grégoire in this matrix of competence as foundational in the role of knowledge transfer office and in the competencies of knowledge valorization. And you can see that we have also other member that has evaluated themselves as an intermediate level, because indeed they understand the process of negotiating and drafting licensing agreement for knowledge valorization. And if they do need to increase their competency, but they can go and see what can I do to have this increased step of career. So this was at the, let's say, level of RISE, what we can do. And so finally, we can also use this as at the institutional level. And for this is maybe a more long-term effort, because finally, to build this system in an institution, you do need a lot of cooperation and let's say work to finally bring it together and implement it at an institutional level. And finally, what we can use and how we used it, we make a first step. It's about publishing a transparent job offer for a research manager, and we align it with RM Comp. So this was a job offer that was published a few months ago. And finally, we have put an area here just to finally target well what we were looking for. We targeted it as research management. This was the first step. Recognize that finally we are looking for a research manager. This helps us, for example, to avoid a lot of people that have maybe competencies in project management, but not in research project management. And so like this, we have constructed this job offer, including soft skill and technical competency. And this something important that I wanted to underline here, it was that we finally pick in the tool that Olivia showed you, we picked what we really wanted to pick and what we wanted to use. So finally, if I have to give you an advice, use the RMComp toolkit, the RMComp framework, the RMComp, all the Cardia deliverable that you can see, use it and appropriate it. So for example, here I listed key competencies like project and process management, stakeholder engagement, problem solving, and decision making. And finally, this was more clear, and I could finally target research manager. The next step, that it's maybe something that it's more difficult to put on, will be to recognize contractual research manager in our university and to describe for them a career framework. And so again, here, what we have done is that based on RMComp qualification level, like RM1, 2, 3, and 4, propose to our authority a career path for our contractual research logistician, for example. Indeed, we do have some research logisticians that have a status, but all the others that are just contractual agents do not have a clear career path. And so this is what we are proposing to our university authorities to finally align with the European standard of research management and finally make a ULH a more attractive institution. So this is pretty all for me. I hope that I showed you finally how we can use this tool, how we can appropriate this tool in our administration and in your administration. And I'm happy to answer your question.
Thank you very much, Véronique, for this great example of how RMComp can be applied in a real world setting. So now we will have another questions. I will share the screen. So after Véronique's presentation, which of these uses of RMComp will be most relevant or useful in your own organization? So, the most relevant seems to be self-assessment and development planning. Then training plans and mentoring programs. Okay, great. What do you think, ladies?
I would
So
like
I
to say that I
suppose,
would.
go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead, Olivia. I would like to say that I'm encouraging the 16% that answer 5. So really, I'm sure that you will find something interesting in implementing RMComp.
And I suppose just to note, this is an awful lot of information, particularly for those of you who are maybe less familiar with using RMComp or any other competency frameworks, but it's certainly something that you can look into. As I mentioned, we have a lot of the information available within our Cardea website if you want to see, you know, how the RMComp was born, the policies around RMComp, even down to the emergence of research management as recognized in research excellence and impact. So it might be that it's a case that you need to learn a bit more, but certainly we hope that, you know, it's a first step for you to learn that bit more. And certainly around development and planning, it's, you know, it's a first step for you to be able to do that if you have the information, which is certainly very useful, I would hope.
And of course, we will share the presentation.
Yeah, you will have everything in a few days. So now maybe, okay, let's now open the floor for your questions. Please write your questions in the chat and we will pick them up and address as many as we can. Olivia and Véronique, feel free to jump in.
I would also like to say that we have our wonderful coordinator of the Cardea project on the call with us today. So at any point, if she would like to jump in.
Yeah, with her big smile.
Okay. So I first of all want to say how proud I am of you guys. I am just delighted to be in attendance at this workshop, to see RMComp out of theory and into practice. And it's just lovely to see that. And Olivia and Veronique and Laurence, of course. And I suppose I would also like to thank all of you, and I'd love to see you if you can put on your cameras. That would be really nice, because I know some of the people here, and I know that I circulated it through the HR Excellence in Research Network. I see Barbara. Hello, Barbara. And I know that all of the people who are on this webinar are dedicated to supporting the careers of researchers, of course, but you're also probably research managers yourselves as well. And we hope that this, I can't tell you, of course, how I call the year 2024 the validation and collaboration year. And it was really difficult to get RM Comp out of our heads onto paper, okay, and then get it validated by the European Commission, and collaborating, of course, which was wonderful, with our roadmap, and then going out to member states. And you can imagine, honestly, how I didn't get an ulcer. I don't know, but anyway, the result was that they published it in January of 2025, for which I am so grateful to the European Commission for their support in getting that over the line. And I really loved Veronique's and Olivia's, of course, presentation on the implementation. And I guess we're looking into the future now. And what I think is very important, obviously, is AI for researchers, or for research managers, I mean, but also managing research security is another huge area, I think, that we're going to have to be looking into and seeing what can be done to help train the wonderful research managers throughout the whole European research area, because it's becoming very important. And I just want to thank you all. It's so lovely to see you all, and to recognize the names and the faces and all of that. And I'll hand it back to Veronique and Olivia. So thank you.
Thanks, Mary-Kate.
Thank you, Mary-Kate.
Thank you, Mary-Kate. So do you have some questions for Olivia and Veronique before a final question?
So of course you will have the slide, and really go on our website, UCC Cardia, go on our link there. You will have access to all the toolkits, downloadable toolkit, and also you will see also and get informed of our next event, because the next big one that it's preparing, and we have here the coordinator of Data Action, Justinia. It's an ADI webinar. So really follow us, and you will see that we will have a lot of things going on these few months that arrive. So we do have here a question. Wait.
Yes, Olivia.
So, thank you. So Suresh has asked, will the Cardea Academy stay alive for a few years or until the funding period? So what we are hoping to do within UCC is to keep the Cardea Academy alive on our Cardea website. So and again, you'll get all these links, but the website that I shared to the UCC website, we're hoping to keep the Cardea Academy alive there. And equally, we have the commitment from our partners in the University of Macerata, who are really committed to keeping our training alive. So we would hope that we can keep this as long as possible.
Yes, I think we will be issuing the micro credential for 2 years following the end of the project. And, you know, so definitely it's part of our continuous implementation. Could you please highlight on the grants tracking for expenditure, any special tools? I'm not sure. Was that towards you, Veronique?
No, I'm not sure. Is it something about just the grant office or something like this? A question?
Is it finance?
Wait,
Budgeting?
finance?
And India, could you
Wait.
be a bit more perhaps specific about your query? Because I know we do have research finance as a competency within RM Comp, so I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about there.
So what
Could you
will
please
find,
highlight on the grants tracking? Okay, so it's research finance. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess what I would ask you to do, I'm not sure if I can share. I will just go on to, I'm going to try and share, folks, but
I'm not sure, Mary-Kate, but
Oh.
maybe
So
try.
you want to share
I will try.
So yeah, actually, Laurence, if you could just put up the Cardea website and share it, that would be really good.
Normally, I can put you like a quote presentator.
Oh, lovely. That would be even better.
Now, maybe you can share.
Now you can share?
No, not yet. I can't, I'm afraid. Hang on now. It's not. No, I can't share.
While Mary-Kate and Laurence are doing that, so we have budgeting and finance within different aspects of the training modules. So the first one that would be important is budget preparation in the pre-award. So that's a means of, you know, financially budgeting before you get to the research finance aspect. And then within the research finance training, there is the aspect of organizing the unit finances and the research funding sources. So you will find information within each of those training modules on the specific tools that they use for monitoring and tracking finances. Does that answer your question?
I'm still not able to share, so I'm just wondering if somebody could put up the Cardea website and just share it there.
Yeah, I have put it in the chat. I will show you and share the page.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Laurence.
You're welcome.
Voilà. Tu cherches toi?
Voila. Right. Great. Super. So, Laurence, if you could go to the competence framework. That's great. Now, what I want you to do is obviously accept all the cookies and then go to just the link at the top of the page, which links to the short version of RM Comp. So what you're all looking at here is readily available. It's on the Cardea website. This is the short version, and there is also a long version. So what I would like to show is, if you could, RM competencies there on page 16. So we had to do an awful lot of work behind the scenes to get this out there, right? So that it could be, and if you keep scrolling, sorry, excuse me, if you just keep scrolling all the way down now, we will come to, that's all yellow. So I am looking for specialist knowledge, which is, which would have, hold on now. So yeah, that's project management. If you keep going down, sorry, Laurence.
No, it's okay.
This is awful, I know. Stakeholder engagement, and if you just keep on going down, we'll get to specialist knowledge, right? And research finance comes in under specialist knowledge, right? Because, and we just change, hang on now. That's, yeah, if you keep going, I think you've missed it. Oh, keep going on down anyway.
Down?
I think so, yeah. If you just keep going.
After it's communication.
Yeah, and you just keep going. And then we have subject matter expertise. Right. So just slow down there. So that's pre-award. Go down to the next one, post-award. Managing. I'm looking for research finance. If you see it, that's data. I can't see, you're going so fast.
If I'm going fast, I'm afraid to miss it.
So it should be there. Research finance. So
Managing.
okay, hang on now. Research strategy. I can't see it, you see. Research infrastructures, research ethics, clinical. Hang on,
Research
there
finance.
it is. Right, yes. So if you could make that a bit bigger.
Yes.
To view, you know, just so we looked at research finance as a specialist area. Now, I hope that I am answering the question here. And basically, we said that research finance oversee budgetary aspects, financial planning and compliance with research projects and or at organizing. So it's basically all about the effective allocation of funds, monitoring expenditure, and adhering to financial regulations and funding guidelines. And of course, we have it under foundational, intermediate, advanced, and expert. And I'm trying to see what the actual, could you please highlight on the grants tracking what? Research finance, yes. So here you see foundational. So obviously the person would have to have a grasp of the foundational concepts of finance, including budgeting, basic types of research funding sources and their implications, you know, and then that's all foundational. Then you go to intermediate, right? So then you're kind of getting your managing research project budgets, you know, both direct and indirect costs, you're tracking payroll, you're tracking expenses, you're tracking payments to partners, you know, all of this. And then you have to, of course, report to the European Commission. You have to report to national funding agencies. You need to report within your own research performing organization, you know, and then you develop advanced financial forecasting models. For example, if we don't get the next grant, we're going to run out of money by X, you know, just basic maths like that. And of course, advanced cost accounting methodologies to allocate costs accurately across research projects, utilizing the software and systems that may well be within your own organization. And then, of course, you're looking at expert. And experts are people who provide organizational leadership in research finance, right? Also mentoring, guiding junior research finance professionals and so on. And so for each of the subject matter expertise areas, we have it broken down into these. And of course, this helps if you are developing, if you are a HR excellence in research person in your organization, and somebody comes along to you and says, we need a job description for a foundational research finance person, here you are, right? You can use, and of course, the research finance person won't just need skills in research finance, they'll also need a bit of project management, perhaps. They may also need a little bit of communication. They may need to interact with stakeholders. So really, it's about looking at this in its entirety, looking at the competencies that are required for a role that you want to advertise, and weaving these at whatever level that you're targeting, whether it's foundational, intermediate, advanced, and expert. And I just hope, sorry to have taken over the meeting here, folks, but I just hope that that this answers the question. And yes, right, great, lovely.
No, thank you, Mary-Kate, to have shown also how it works in Cardea and how a group dynamic, because it was really a pleasure to work on this aspect. Guys, right. You have seen how it works in Cardea.
So if you have the time, all of you, and if you have the will, right, because I'll tell you, you will need the will to read ORM Comp long version or the ORM Comp short version. They are there on the Cardea website. So we just didn't pull it out of anywhere. We actually had to develop it. It took a long time to develop it. So anyway, that's all from me on that.
I put the link for the long version in the chat, okay?
Thank you, Laurence.
You're welcome. So now I will share for the final question.
We just have one more question, and okay. I can allow your mic, Antonella, if you would like.
Yes, thank you. I would just, I didn't have time to read all the material, and I'm sorry I was just late here at the meeting. But I was curious to know, recently a friend of mine that he operated in project management in France told me that there are two different methodologies for project management. One of these is widespread in the UK and is called the Prince2, and the other one is called the PMP, Project Management Professional, and is widespread, especially in the USA. So I was just wondering if in those guidelines, those two different methodologies have been acknowledged or compared with whatever this project is doing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for a really good question, Antonella. And the answer is no, because we have to put out, I'm trying to get my words straight. So we wanted an interoperable, easy to understand and apply competency framework that could be used in every member state, and most importantly, including the widening countries, right? Some of the software that you're asking about and methodology may not be readily available to all. So we looked at the theory of project management, not the tools. Mm-hmm. And so in my view, it would be up to any organization to make that decision for themselves. We're certainly not in the business of telling member states what to do. we are organizations within member states. What we are doing is saying, here is a competence framework that will help you, right? So I hope that answers your question, Donatella.
Yes, in a way. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is another question from Alexandra.
Yeah. So,
Alexandra, you can speak. We don't hear you.
So I just enabled the mic.
Or you can write in the chat.
Oh, yeah, no, I couldn't open my mic. Sorry. So first of all, thank you, Mary Kay, thank you, Olivia, thank you all the CARDEA partners that have already brought us the training that we were so looking for. I'm almost finishing all the modules, and honestly, if I had to make like my master's thesis, I could with this material. I mean, it's a lot of experts providing all different, levels. You can, if you want to, you can go deeper, looking at what each trainer offers, links, references, and so on. And next week, we do have in Barcelona the annual RMA meeting. It's held by Agaur, which is one of the partners of RM framework. And from UPC, we will present an institutional initiative that is to match RM comps and including them in each UPC personnel working curricula in order to establish also professional development within our institution and match it with what PM Square and PM Square addressed to European funded projects and the new Sustainable PM Square project, both coming from European Erasmus Plus initiatives, as well as the first formation project that was one of the initiators, along with Best Pract and along with CARDEA RM framework and RM Comp. So we will try to match those two free, open, and EU-funded initiatives in a multidisciplinary way to take our RMS to a new, consolidated profession within our institution. So this may answer also one of the questions that how to land competencies, RM competencies into practice, and how can actually RMAs benefit from this training in a micro-credential, a free micro-credential, the CARDEA ones from one side, and also the one that Interoperable Europe provides via the PM Square methodology training approach. So thank you. I'm also really, really grateful for your work, and keep it up, the good job.
Thank you, Alexandra.
Thank you, Alexandra. It's great to hear that, this is making an impact and that there's a lot of people working in this space with the same prospects, I suppose, for training and development. So that's really wonderful. Laurence, did you want to finish?
Yes.
Your
Mute,
microphone
Laurence.
is on mute.
Mute.
Sorry. We have a final question, but it's more like a comment rather than a question from Oriol. Maybe you can read it because it seems like.
I think the comment, if I'm correct, is that the person is saying they are a research impact technician, right? That's what I think. And obviously we didn't cover every specialist knowledge area. I mean, so when I first started to look at the results of the survey and I saw all the titles that people had, which were included on their contract of employment, right? I nearly collapsed because I thought, how are we going to make any sense of this role? And of course, then it took me a while, but I realized research manager is an umbrella term which encompasses all of these roles, right? So we did identify as best we could the most popular specialist areas. Okay, that's what we did, and we didn't have one for yours, but it's as you say, if you go through it, you will see competencies that identify with your role. And it's also, just so you know, it's also a living document. Okay, I can only imagine that our AI is just going to get huge, right? So there'll be a lot more of that, but you know, it's just going to. So I'm sorry that we didn't call out your particular role, but hopefully I see your point. Yes, you can pull out competencies from other areas to create your role, for want of a better way of putting it. So I hope that addresses your comment.
So
I think for the being conscious of time, we might just take one more question. And obviously, if anybody has other engagements, feel free to drop off if you'd like to stay on. But of course, I've just enabled your mic, Miria. So if you would like to ask us a question, please do.
Voilà. Mireia, you.
So, sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
I do it also. That's why maybe.
Wait.
Yeah, it's okay. Morning. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning. Hello. I'm Mireia from A3PT from Parc Taulí in Barcelona. And thank you so much for this training. I think that it's very good about the content. It's clear and the website is clear. But I have one question about if exists a new, where is the next training? If exists or if don't exist any provision to the next one?
So do you mind if I answer this? That's the $6 million question. So
yeah. Thank you.
we had to concentrate. I don't know if you know that we have categorized research roles into research manager 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those are all on the Cardea website as well. And of course, research manager 1 are research managers who are coming in and have had about 2 years of experience in the role as a research manager. And what we also think is really important is to try to prepare people who are who may be thinking about coming into the role of research manager. Okay, so we concentrated on RM1, right? And of course, it means that we will have to look into RM2, RM3, RM4. And we all know that there's a new call out there, folks, right? So there you go. Does that answer your question, Maria?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. But in the other hand, yeah, I think that you say that we need to influence with the researchers management, no, about the content and the indications. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
This is the first step. So we have the competency framework now. We can identify the competencies and the areas for additional training. So we have the first step, which also offers opportunities to create additional steps. So yes, more training is certainly needed. Now, have we got any other questions?
Yes. We are always available on social media. So on the LinkedIn account, you can reach us. You have our name. You can reach us by email. We have also a newsletter. So by consenting to apply to this webinar, you will receive the newsletter that is on preparation for the summer. So you will have access to us. So it's not the last day that you will see or hear us. And so really, we will be there to answer your question if we have not had the time to answer it today.
Thank you very much, everyone. Just a final question. You can, it's the same code. So what will you do after this webinar?
Not that.
Have a cup of coffee?
Yes. Have lunch. Have a drink in a sunny state. I don't know which.
I just want to say thank you again. I mean, maybe it's because it's the momentum. Maybe it's because it's 1 month after the ARMA. But thank you.
You're very welcome.
Keep motivated this way.
Thank you.
We'll try to.
We're doing our best, aren't we, guys?
So we are happy to see that you will explore the RMComp Academy Hub.
Wait.
And also share it with your colleagues. Good.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank
you very much.
Everyone. Thank you, and we hope to see you on the next event that it will have. Stay connected, and you will be informed.
Yeah, we have. Thank you again on behalf of the Cardiac team, and we look forward to seeing you.
Hi,
Bye,
Susanna.
Everyone.
I just saw you there.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Louise.
Je quitte comme ça, alors.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Do that. I will. Okay. I've done